If you have planets in the 5th house, you'll be happy to know that the 5th house is one of the luckiest houses in astrology. I like to call it the house of privilege. In traditional astrology, the 5th house is called the house of good fortune. So what is fortune? Fortune is something that befalls you through no effort of your own. It is things that happen to you outside of your control. You may have heard of the lot of fortune. It's the same concept, circumstances outside of your control. But the difference with the 5th house is the 5th house is good fortune. This is things that enrich your life, or this is circumstances in your favor, or this is just plain luck. The 5th house and the 11th house were thought to be so positive that for some people, they can actually cancel out the negatives of Saturn and Mars. Hellenistic astrologers looked at the 5th house to understand honors, successes, riches, fame, and leadership. If you have the sun in the 5th house, because the sun represents visibility, this is about fame. Now don't get it twisted. I know girlies on TikTok love to hype up fame, but let's be realistic here. This is likely to indicate something like being featured on the news, or winning an award, or making a bestsellers list. You will have some type of recognition. Now, in ancient astrology, the sun was used to symbolize royalty and nobility. So the way we translate that for everyday people is you may come from a wealthy family, especially your father's side of the family. This can also mean that there is a member of your family that has a certain level of status in the community. For example, maybe you are the daughter of the fire chief, or maybe your brother owns the popular restaurant in town, or maybe your grandfather is the principal of the school. You have a certain level of status that rewards you some privileges. This can also mean that you will go on to become someone who is royal or noble. For example, you will hold an important position, or you will run a successful business. If you have Saturn in the 5th house, surprisingly, there's a lot of positive things to say about this. This can mean that you will accumulate riches over time. Saturn traditionally rules property, land, and agriculture, so you may profit off of the land. Extracting valuable things from the earth or working in real estate, all of these things can be profitable for you. Luck is to be found in the land itself. Saturn in the 5th house represents founders, people who found things. So this is not just you being an owner. This is you being the creator of something, or you being the discoverer of something. If you have Mars in the 5th house, Mars represents people who go on to become generals, department heads, chiefs, owners, and high-ranking personnel. A very old Hellenistic astrologer named Rhetorius described Mars in the 5th house as someone who will be renowned and honored by the people. This is another little fame indicator. I put it in quotes because I really just need you guys to be realistic here. This basically means that you will be recognized, you will be thanked, you will be celebrated for some work that you do. Now, because this is Mars, this means that you will be celebrated because you will win the competition, or you will be the victor, or you will win the fight, or you will simply be better than others. You will be the best option. That's why you win. If you have the moon in the 5th house, like the sun, the moon also represents visibility. This is another indication that you will be seen by your community. You will be on the news, you will make the bestsellers list, you will win an award, something like that. And when we talk about royalty and nobility, because this is the moon, we're talking about your mother's side of the family. So this can mean that your mother has some type of status in the community and you benefit because of that. The moon also represents possession, so lucky you, you will go on to own some pretty nice shit. The moon also represents moving and traveling, so you'll be pretty lucky when it comes to moving and traveling around.